4188 for your complimentary issue to the International Forecaster. Just give us a call and we'll make sure Bob gets the information. Now we have Robert joining us this afternoon, as he does every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Robert Chapman from the International Forecaster. Hi, Bob.
Hi, Melody, and hi, you all out there. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Market is still under, obviously, slight pressure from our government. J.P. Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs, HSBC, and Citigroup. And that's because that illegal alien who occupies the White House is going to make a speech tomorrow. And goodness gracious, everything's going to get good. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that added to today's pressure. They had a heck of a time taking gold and silver down today. And, of course, we have to contend with the gold-silver options expiration, which will occur on Wednesday. And so the option writers would, who are the commercials, who are banks, they would like those to expire lower. And so with that said, there's still pressure from that corner. But we've got about a day and a quarter left. I think Wednesday will be a good day. But they'll probably pressure it a little tomorrow, too. The 10-year is 341, which is a little bit better than Friday. That's down from 350 and up from 240 about 2 or 3 months ago. Gold and silver are still under pressure. Silver not nearly as much, but gold is. And it should end this week. It doesn't make any difference. We're in for the long term anyway. Got a few questions here. The first one from Leslie. A while ago you mentioned that gold and silver were in phase 2. Well, actually I said phase 2 of 4 or 5 phases. And the first, did you say something?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I heard a noise on the line. The first phase ended when we solidly broke out over 850 to approximately 1,000 to 1,200. The next step, phase 2, should be anywhere between 2,400 and 3,000, and that'll be the end of that phase. Phase 3 should take gold to 6,000, and phase 4 could take it anywhere between 8,000 and 12,000. So it's hard to recognize at this point. We could have a phase 5 where it just goes berserk, but I don't know that, and I think most people would settle for the numbers I've talked about. Silver's a little bit harder, but silver will go over 100, and probably maybe as high as $400 or $500 for all we know. But trying to project out that far is extremely difficult. Let's look at the intermediate term. Look at what our government is doing. They're ruining every market that they can get their hands on, with the exception of the bond and stock markets, which they're supporting through manipulation. The second question here, this is a commentary, and I haven't read it, so I'm going to read it, and I'll make a comment. And the title is Timothy Geithner Meets Vladimir Lenin, Stage 2. Accounting rule changes at the Fed will mask losses. And this is a report from Max Kaiser, whose reports I like. This does not augur well for dollar strength. The dollar is more and more becoming a virtual currency, like you see sold by Zynga for games like Facebook's Farmville. So I stick to my thesis that the current value of the dollar is completely outside economic supply and demand curves. Instead, it's held together with currency, craft, and derivatives, traded mostly out of view and regulatory scrutiny. The only way we know it exists is by tracking the bubble trail of fees that show up at banks like Goldman Sachs, and J.P. Morgan Chase, the same way antimatter is tracked. Meanwhile, since the day of reckoning is unavoidable, the top bankers of the world will roll out a new global currency, absorbing the dollar and other currencies as well, probably the euro simultaneously, along with the yen and the renminbi, where purchasing power of all will fall under the umbrella of these currencies is unchanged, but independence and sovereignty is lost. I'm going to stop there. Max thinks there'll be some kind of an international currency, and he probably is going to talk about the SDR or a link between currencies, 6 of them or 10 of them or 20 of them, whatever it is, and maybe even the dollar. It all depends on what form everything takes. But you can't, in this situation, try to figure exactly what these people are going to do. I'm of the feeling that any new currency or any new index will have to be gold-based because no one's going to accept it, particularly the countries like China and Russia and Brazil and Iran that have been collecting gold hand over fist. And so I think they're going to have a difficult time unless they back whatever it is with gold. And I'm given this a lot of thought, and I've seen what's happened since 1960. And so I believe there's a good chance they'll revalue, devalue, and default, and the dollar will be backed by gold, and they'll continue to use it. But it's only a guess. It's qualitative. And with my background, training, my life's work, it's a good qualified guess. And Max, in essence, says that. And I'll go on. The SDR will rise up and fill this role nicely. Well, I don't agree with that because the SDR can't have gold backing. And they've got to have gold backing. And at least that's my view. And it's okay to disagree because Max is an equal, and that's okay. We're professionals. In the short term, what does this mean to the perennial inflation-deflation debate? He brings in another newsletter writer called Mish, who I don't care for his work at all, is the godfather of deflationists, having predicted both deflation and the rise of gold, something even Steve Keen missed. Does the aforementioned flood of virtual currency block the deflationary argument off its pedestal? No, since most, probably 90% of the global economic and currency activity transpires in the shadow market anyway. Any increases in money supply accompanied by a redefinition of money from a partially reserved backed unit to a zero reserved backed unit, the true meaning of virtual currencies, will never touch the real economy. We have, as suggested, a command and control price-fixing oligarchy running things with nary a hint of free market capitalism in sight. It's an oblique way of approaching that problem. Wordy, could have got to it much more quickly. But I think we're going to get a lot more inflation here of what went on in QE1 and now QE2. If you just take the government expenditure together, you get about $1.8 trillion over a, let's say, 3-year period. And that's a lot for government to pour into an economy and make work projects, or pork, if you may. And I think that the expansion in QE1 by the banks was unbelievable. I mean, nobody really knows the figure. 2 years ago, I started using $13.8 trillion. I think it's as close as you can get. Maybe it's 15 to 20, I don't know. But a lot of it hasn't been paid back. And a lot of people who received this money, they should have never received it. It was a payoff. I mean, McDonald's and Harley Davidson, General Electric, AIG. It's an oblique way. 7 major insurance companies, major brokerage firms. It doesn't end. Could have got to it much more quickly. I think that the tremendous amount of money that's been put into operation, we'll call it money and credit. I think what's going to happen is that people are going to try to add all this up and throw their hands in the air and just hope that inflation doesn't get as bad as it could. Melody, do you have any questions? I have one more here. It might be a little lengthy.
Yeah, I do have some questions. And is the doubt if inflation goes higher, you're just going to see the markets go higher? I mean, it means nothing. I mean, they're just digits. It doesn't mean any value or anything. But, just I heard someone mention you had the Zimbabwe go to zero and their market went to, 40,000 or something, I heard them say. Is that true?
Mm-hmm. It is. Mm-hmm. And then it collapsed.
Right.
And what did they do with all that money? They sure couldn't spend it.
Here's the question in. This is in from Mark. He says, please ask Bob, after 50 years, the U.S. still has such a hard stance on Cuba. As a U.S. citizen, he can't visit Cuba, but Canadians, Mexicans, and Europeans can. So what's up on the U.S.'s tough stance in this situation?
It's business as usual. They need an enemy, and Fidel is the enemy. I think the whole thing was contrived from the beginning, and I know that Fidel listens to these broadcasts, and he's not going to be very happy about it. But when you have the Rockefeller family visiting Fidel, what can that mean? To me, it means that things aren't the way they seem to be for many years. And I've been to Cuba, and I didn't go with the brigade, incidentally. And they're still in the same position today as they were in 1961 or 2. It's a very nice country, beautiful beaches, but there's not much going on. And I don't know when they're going to allow Cuba to, again, join up with the rest of the world. But the economy really has not been run well, and the people are really tired of the kind of government that they've had. And the only people who want a perpetuation of what Cuba is all about are the politicians that live there. That's the way I look at it. But there's many things that Fidel has said that are true. Incidentally, he's a subscriber, for those of you who didn't know. And I'm sure when the Rockefellers come down, they discuss the publication, which I think is funny. Obviously, they don't think I'm a great threat to them because they haven't come looking for me yet. Anyway, I think we covered that.
You know what, Bob? In a way, it's a shame that they have to catch up to the rest of the world. I saw a program. I mean, their ecosystem, it's really the only place on this whole planet that hasn't been destroyed. I mean, they have plant life, animal that can't be found anywhere else in the world. And they don't have the waters that have been polluted by the boats and everything else. Some of their beaches are beginning to erode because of the visitors from these various places, mainly the Europeans. Their beaches are, getting destroyed and so forth. But it's probably the only place in the planet that hasn't been, that has, still like it was maybe, 50 to 100 years ago. And this program repeatedly had mentioned that it was just a matter of time until the U.S. would open up the the freedom to move to visit Cuba, and then they expect once that door is opened, then you'll see it decline as far as the ecosystem and everything else, the water, the plants, the coral reefs that they have. They have coral reefs that can't be found anywhere else in the world because it hasn't been disturbed, and it'll be a real crime to see all that.
Well, why don't we turn it into a reserve and not let those things happen to it? Of course, the people who live there say, "Hey, wait a minute, we want to make a living now."
Yeah.
So you get both sides of the coin. Man builds, but he also destroys, as you've just pointed out. And is the trade-off fair? That's something I don't know. But let's see. We only got a couple of minutes here. Do you have a short question there?
No, I don't. Is your one question short?
No, this is going to take a little bit.
You know what? I got some questions in on some. Let's see if I can go back. What time is it? Yeah, we just have a. Let's see.
Anyway, the Cubans are very nice people, and the food's good, and the hotel's not all that hot. But it's an interesting place. You get to see some of the U-2s that the Cubans shot down, and which you were never told about. And there's a lot of other things that are interesting. But, when you have these political dichotomies and these wars, the only ones that win are the big hitters behind the scenes who make all the decisions. And it's all the other poor people who are the losers one way or the other.
Is Cuba dangerous?
In what sense?
Dangerous to the U.S. in any manner? I wouldn't think so.
No,
Are there
not at all. I thought maybe you meant crime. They have a modicum of crime. There's a big class distinction there between skin color, basically. And but they get some very nice restaurants, and they got very nice music too. Mm-hmm. But so do a lot of other places. But it's the Latin beat. It's like Colombia and Mexico and some of the others that have some great entertainers. My daughter was at a hotel in San Diego. I think she was visiting somebody, and there were a bunch of guys down playing soccer on this field within the hotel complex. So she was bored, so she went down and she said, "Can I play?" And she's a natural. And she gets on there with all these men she's playing and playing very well. So one of the guys said, "Gee, you play well, and it's nice you came and played with us, blah, blah, blah." And he says, "My name's Ziggy Marley. And what's yours?" And she says, "My name's Jennifer." And he says, "Do you know who I am?" And she says, "Yeah." And he said, "You like my music?" She said, "It's okay." That's how she met Ziggy Marley. You just never know.
You never know. And you'll never know that...
And that's a young one, not the older fellow who died.
You'll never know that our time is up for the half hour, so we'll be right back.
You always won every time you placed a bet. You're still damn good. No one's gotten to you yet.
Years ahead of the dominant media, FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net, around the world and on satellite.
Is it really possible to get out of debt without payment plans or attorneys? 18 years ago, we developed a program that has made thousands debt-free in just 90 days. It's called Zero Debt in 90 Days, and it works for all credit card debt, medical bills, even collection lawsuits.
When I first joined, I was being sued, so I used the program methods. And after filing one piece of paper, the collection lawsuit was dismissed.
With Zero Debt in 90 days, your success is guaranteed in writing. There is no other program of its kind. Don't be alone when creditors gang up on you. Let our team of experts provide the resources to fight back and stop creditors in only 90 days. Guaranteed. Prevent wage garnishments, bank levies, and stop collection calls with our proven program. Call Zero Debt in 90 days now. 800-477-9256. And ask for free information from an expert who also completed our program. 800-477-9256 or ZeroDebtGuaranteed.com. 800-477-9256 or ZeroDebtGuaranteed.com.
Record budget deficits, bankruptcies galore, and the U.S. dollar is at an all-time low. With today's gloomy economic outlook, safe investments are often hard to find. For over a decade, Melody Cedarstrom at Discount Gold and Silver Trading Company has been helping people secure their future by investing in the precious metals. Melody has the honesty, integrity, and experience that is often lacking in the precious metals business. Let her put it to work for you. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 800-375-4188. That's 800-375-4188.
You read the history books, the most often asked question to Southerners was this: why did you fight? And the most often given answer is, because you're here. In other words, the South did not invade the North invaded the South.
Was it the Civil War or War of Federal Aggression? John Weaver sets the record straight in this DVD series on the Civil War from the Old Past Christian History Conference. Was there a war to set the slaves free, or was it a war to enslave us all? Get this DVD and judge for yourself. War of Federal Aggression. Get this DVD presentation for a donation of $25 from FirstAmendmentRadio.com. Order online today at FirstAmendmentRadio.com. Call 559-781-3773. The truth seems strange only because we've been indoctrinated with a fiction. War of Federal Aggression. Get it today. Hi, Nicholas here. I used to lug those big jugs to the market to fill with water from those coin-operated filter machines, 25 cents a gallon or 5 gallons for $1. I used to. Then I got the big Berkey. Now I save my back and hundreds of dollars too. I was paying $600 for the same 3,000 gallons of water that a pair of black Berkey filters will provide from my own tap for only $99. This means that your Berkey water system will entirely pay for itself with only 1,500 gallons of use. And then you will still have 1,500 gallons left before you need to replace the filters. Do the math. Stop throwing your money away on bottled water and filter dispensers that may or may not be delivering as promised. For a limited time, First Amendment Radio is offering 10% off on the most popular Berkey water systems. Visit the shopping page at FirstAmendmentRadio.com or call us at 559-781-3773 for more information. Leave your name and address and we'll send you this special offer. Do it now. First Amendment Radio is an authorized distributor of Berkey products.
I pledge allegiance to the King of Kings, and to his kingdom come, on earth as it is in heaven. One holy nation, under an heavenly Father, grace, mercy, justice for all.
A gambler share, the only risk that you would take, the only loss you could forsake, the only bluff you couldn't fake.
No escucha.
Thank you for. Oh. You're going to get me coughing. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. You're listening to Financial Survival, 800-375-4188. For all your gold and silver coin needs here at Discount Gold and Silver Trading, and for your complimentary issue, yes, you're going to give us a call at 800-375-4188. And Bob, would you like to tell us about the International Forecaster, please?
Well, the forecast is about business, finance, economic, social, political issues all over the world. We publish Wednesdays and Saturdays by email, runs around 40 pages each time. We have a hard copy that goes out twice a month for those who are not on the Internet, and everything you need to know every week is in that publication. free introductory copy by going to theinternationalforecaster.com. Theinternational, FORECASTER.com. You can also go to www.intforecaster.com. That's intforecaster.com. If you'd like to email us with a question, that address is Bob, B-O-B, at intforecaster.com. Bob at intforecaster.com. Or you can call toll-free.
Toll-free, 800-375-4188. That's 800-375-4188 for your complimentary issue to the International Forecaster. And, of course, you better call us for your gold and silver coins here at Discount Gold and Silver Trading. We got some great prices. Boy, I haven't run a special in a long time, have I?
It's a good time to do it.
Yeah.
Prices are down. Probably get some good prices you can pick up things at.
Yeah, I mean, all my prices. 90% bags, they're a steal right now. Let's see. They're a good price. Prices went down a little bit on those. I don't know. I just really I'm just going to do a really good, how about, now the reason the price is so low is because I'm really giving a good price. 62, Mint State 62, $20 Liberties. I'm going to do them at half my cost, so they would be $15.90. The regular price on them, let me tell you what the regular price would be on them, $16.80. My price is only going to be good for today. And for the late night listeners, call. You can leave a message on the recorder, or you can email me. But this will not be offered tomorrow. So that's a pretty good price for Mint State 62 $20 Liberties. And we'll go with every 5 you can receive a newsletter, a year subscription to the newsletter. So that's a pretty good deal, folks. And $15.90 for Mint State 62 $20 Liberties. And give us a call at 800. Boy, that really, I don't know, and that really is a good deal. Maybe I went a little overboard there. That's why it's only good for one day. So give us a call at Discount Gold and Silver, 800-375-4188. Here's a question in from John. Do the elite use Freemasons, among others, to achieve their evil goals?
They certainly do. In fact, a good part of what has transpired, let me think of a date here. I would say probably since the 1600s, a good part of what has transpired has involved the Masons, and particularly in Europe. In fact, it's been a vehicle in Europe for the advancement of this illuminous coterie. One of the interesting things here that I've noticed over the years that people in Europe who are Catholics are allowed to join the Masons, and also in Latin America, but in the United States they've always been against it, which rather baffled me. But anyway, there's been a great deal of cooperation, and the Masons have been used in a big way to further this. There's a book called The Brotherhood of Darkness, which was written by Dr. Stan Monteith, and he has other tomes along that line, and it proves the active, aggressive participation of Masons in the Illuminati. But for the most, almost totally, it involved Europe. And, people like to join groups because in groups there's better opportunities to become rich and famous and to accomplish what you want to accomplish. That's why they help each other. And so that's one of the reasons, a visible reason why they get involved. But the answer is yes.
Here's a question in from Fred. Many times you talk on the show about the big conference where every nation comes together and they all revalue and devalue their currency against another. What happens after this conference? He means, is the crisis over, then all of a sudden, if everybody's forgiving each other's debt, will gold go down, it's all hunky-dory again, and they can restart their fraudulent system? Bob, can you please talk about the time after this conference and what it will mean for gold and silver?
You've said it yourself. They'll just start doing the same things all over again. A good example just the other day, and I'm going to write about it in the next issue if I get a chance to. Alan Greenspan said, well, I think that, in essence, this is what he said, the Federal Reserve may be on its last legs, and it should be replaced. And, of course, the replacement will be the same gang of thieves. I mean, that's the way it will work. And, he doesn't talk about that because he doesn't want you to know about that. He was on Fox Business, and he said, we have at this particular stage a fiat money, which is essentially money printed by a government, and it's usually a central bank, which is authorized to do so. Some mechanism has got to be in place that restricts the amount of money which is produced, either a gold standard or a currency board. Because unless you do that, all of history suggests that inflation will take hold with very deleterious effects on economic activity. There are numbers of us, myself included, who strongly believe that we did very well from 1870-1914 with an international gold standard. But he went on to say that could it be a currency board? Well, if they have that, they're going to have the same cast of characters. We don't want that. But they know that the reaction to what has been going on within the monetary system and its control, they know the people are fed up with it, so they got to do something. And I believe that they've acceded to that. They're going to do something. And there is going to be a change. And what it's going to be, I don't know, but I rather think it will be a gold-backed currency, maybe the dollar again, or it might very well be a group of currencies. So we'll see, because none of us know. I mean, I have not talked to anybody. The only thing that comes close to change is among German banking circles, and I get this from the horse's mouth, Germany and Austria. They're talking and making plans every day to go back to the Deutschmark because they don't know how this is all going to turn out. And this is a contingency plan. I'm sure Mrs. Merkel stands up there and says Germany's going to save the Eurozone system. And why? Well, you look over across the street and you see in Dublin there's terrible problems. In the next several days they're going to have an election. And that election may turn everything upside down. In other words, the loans and the bailout of the banks and all this stuff it may be over. And that's why the euro has been strong, and that's why the dollar's been weak, and that's why when all hell breaks loose in Ireland, that the euro go back down again and the dollar go back up again. They know this is coming, so they're using a buffering. That's what they're doing.
Well, you know, Bob, I mean, all these countries that had fiat currencies and they devalued, I mean, they never backed their currency by gold because they just create a new currency.
Well, we'll just have to see. You know, I don't have all the answers. I'm just throwing out ideas.
No, I'm not saying that as far as, I mean, I think you're right. You know, they are going to use gold. But I'm just curious about, can they actually create like the world unit, and like when it comes to the states, or, you know, I'm mainly referring to the Euro nations, like if they drop out of the euro, if they drop the euro, can they just create something that isn't backed by gold and have it work for a while? Because
no, they got to back it with gold, right. And a lot of them don't have any, probably including the U.S. But what they'll do is they'll Mickey Mouse around and they'll say, well, Germany has lent the United States enough to have a 25% backing on gold or whatever. I mean, these people, they do what they want to do. There are no rules.
Their rules. Lately, every night when the Asian markets open, this is in from Bob, lately every night when the Asian markets open, he watches the price of gold and silver go up. Then right before the European markets open, he sees it sell off a bit, then start to drop. This continues right through the U.S. markets. Are the Asians buying every night, and is this a sign that the Asians are not beholding to JPM and HSBC?
I think you're right. And they hit it at different stages. Today they hit it on the opening in the U.S. They do different things every day. And whatever they do doesn't last very long because they're not using bullion. And you're probably seeing a combination of profit-taking. You're seeing the speculators being run out of the market because of lower prices because they run the long side. And you're seeing a combination of things here. But one of the telling things is, as of last Tuesday, the commercials covered a net 18,000-odd contracts, and that's big. And they're down to 139,000. A normal is 98,000, that's short. And so they're within 40,000. The last time I get down in this area, it stopped going down. So I think we're right near the bottom here, and fine. So we had a correction, big deal. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're not a trader, you don't have to worry about it. Do you want me to do this question I've got here?
Yes, go ahead.
Letter from Rob, and I'm going to leave a lot of the names out of this. A caller into a talk show asked a letter writer about his opinion on hyperinflation versus how you, John Williams, and Gerald Celente see it. Of course, you and John have a background in economics, and the speaker on the program cited that there are $250 trillion of U.S. dollars in the world, and that hyperinflation is unlikely in the near to midterm, even with $3 trillion bank bailouts because of this huge base of dollars. He doesn't think it could be hyperinflation if it does occur for 10 years. The writer wrote to John Williams and expressing the writer's view to Mr. Williams as he has to me. And, you know, one of the things, well, I answered him, the writer, and I said, Mr. So-and-so has not been trained in the markets and has no financial background. He's one of those people who pops up trying to sensationalize something he doesn't understand in order to get subscribers. And he has personally attacked me on some shows. In fact, he tried to get me thrown off of one show, and that didn't happen. Before he did this, his newsletter, and probably is still selling fallout shelters, the opposite of what he says is true. The more money there is in circulation, the better the chance of hyperinflation. Hyperinflation simply is inflation, but people who are holding, in this case, dollars, want to get rid of them as fast as possible because there are too many of them, and they are falling in value. So what the letter writer has said is totally off base. He's absolutely full of crap. My next paragraph. Hyperinflation follows and accompanies inflation. And sometimes, as I have pointed out, nations do have hyperinflation, which ultimately is followed by deflationary depression, as we saw in Germany in the 1920s. Thus, the newsletter writer, does not know what he's talking about. The only people who understand are people who have been trained in finance and economics. The only people I know of who have are myself, Paul Craig Roberts, Max Kaiser, Jim Turk, and Jim Sinclair. The rest of them, generally speaking, are trying to make a fast buck. And I know I've left people out who are qualified, professionals, and I'm sorry, but I didn't have time to write everybody's name in and brainstorm. But this is the kind of crap I put up with all the time. And these people, they're trying to make a living. They don't care how they make it. Some of them are downright hustlers. And this writer is, as far as I'm concerned. And there's another dimension to this I won't get into. But the government has been using newsletter writers for years to snipe at me. A long time. Over 40 years. And some of them are working for the government. And I think this person is.
You'll have to send me his name. But you know what, Bob?
What's that?
You'll have to send me his name. You know what, Bob? We talk about that, and particularly with the Internet. I mean, it's great to get good news off there, but you know what? Even with gold, I just can't believe, I just don't understand why they say the things they do. Just as they...
It's sensationalism.
I know it.
You know, I wrote a note to a friend of Gerald Salente's, and I said, Gerald, you don't have to make predictions on gold. It's not where you're strongest. You're a trends analyst. That's your forte. Stick with it. Why get yourself in trouble saying gold's going to go down, and if it doesn't, you get a black eye? Don't do it. You know, you don't need to take those risks. You're popular in your own name for the trends that you think are going to take place. And that's what they should do. And some of them shouldn't even be on there. They have no training in anything. And I'm amazed that they get on radio and television. I can't believe it.
Well, they learn to say what people want to hear, you know. And
well, either that or it's advertising, one or the other.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just, I mean, I've been doing this long enough too. It doesn't shock me what I hear and so forth, but it still amazes me the persuasion that they have to where people actually, they're very powerful in how they promote and people believe. And but I guess,
well, it's all the backdoor deals.
Yeah.
You know, they come out with a free publication or a very, very well done video, and they offer a free publication or report, and people say, well, gee, you know, what they had to say was good, either in the video or on their tape, so I'll get it. So they get it, and then the next thing is they're offering gold and silver shares. And all you have to pay is $1,500 or $1,000, and you get the hot picks. It sounds to me like the racetrack, you know, where they have touts there telling you what they think is going to win races. Same difference, same thing, just financial parasites.
Not any different in the gold business. They give all these loss leader things, give things away free. When I give my specials out, I don't call people up and beg them to buy something else to make up for the difference. That comes out of my pocket. Just like all these programs I promote and everything. I don't run specials. I don't ask for donations. I don't do anything. It comes out of my pocket by selling gold and silver coins. Everybody pays the same price. And we don't do the loss leaders. We don't do this. You know, we give bonuses. We give, again, just like that special I ran today, Mint State 62, $20 Liberties, $15.90. If you buy 5 coins, that's $450 savings. That's a lot of money, folks. That's a heck of a lot of money for a great coin. But that money, my point is, it comes out of my pocket. It comes out of, we don't do the loss leader things. We don't do the bait and switches. We don't call you and hound you so you end up buying something that you don't have a clue. And what disturbs me most is when I talk to new clients, Bob, and I ask them what they're currently holding, and they don't know. It's like, I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's something foreign. I know that much. And it shouldn't be that way. You should understand.
That's tragic.
It is. So.
And I have it happen all the time, too.
Here's a quick question from a gentleman from the UK. He's been investigating about investing in gold coins. He says the obvious choice is the UK gold sovereigns. He says, however, the premiums charged over spot by the UK vendors seem quite high, and he has it broken out for various number of coins, different percentages, which range anywhere from 15% to 25%. Would you call these premiums excessive or fair? Also, do you think the UK gold sovereign is a good numismatic coin to buy? If so, would you suggest paying a large premium for the proof version? Hey, I think it's more important to own gold. If you can find prices a little bit less than that, that's okay. I mean, our price, they're lower than what they're being charged in the UK. But then again, if that's what you have to do, you buy it. I wouldn't go with the numismatic sovereigns, and I wouldn't pay the extra premium for the proof version. You want to get as much gold as possible, particularly when you're paying those types of premiums. So get your money out of that paper, get some gold, put it away, and that's the insurance policy that you need. Would you like to add anything, Bob?
How can I? Your explanation was absolutely spellbinding.
Was it really?
You remember that movie, Spellbinding?
Spellbound. Spellbound? We're out of time.
Yeah, 1932.
Oh, now you know I'm only 29.